Hello my dear viewers, this week I want to show you a very historic location here in New York City, the South Street Seaport. Although I will begin my walk a little bit away on Pier 11, which is really just like a 2-minute walk from the South Street Seaport. Pier 11 is the ferry terminal from which you can take one of these ferries right here and you can go to Brooklyn, Queens, Governor's Island, really a lot of places. So why start my video here? Well, number one, it's really next door. I mean, we're talking about a 2-minute walk. That's number one. And number two, you really have nice views of Lower Manhattan. So the question should be, why not start here? And then next to it, we have Pier 15, which is also pretty cool because as you walk up, from here you can take a cruise on a ship like this one around Manhattan, where you can have a nice meal, listen to some music, do some dancing. It all really depends on the package that you buy. I was lucky enough that in my lifetime I was on ships like this few times, and even one time I took a cruise on 4th of July fireworks on the East River. So it's definitely a really nice experience, at least once, if you can, in New York City. But again, if you want to visit and see the city on a budget and save a little bit of money, remember you can always walk to Pier 11, where we started this video, and for about $5 you can view the whole city from a boat as well. Or better yet, take the Staten Island ferry, which is for free, and you could get great views of the Statue of Liberty. So there's certainly a lot of ways that you can explore the city, and a lot of different ways that you can still see the same thing, roughly. But from this pier, you can finally see Pier 16 and 17, which is the South Street Seaport piers. And there in the distance, you have great view of the Manhattan and the Brooklyn bridges. So now we are finally getting to the piers that I really want to show you. And one thing that I love about it is the moment that you step on it, it has these old boards, which right away give you a feeling of being like transported in time to an older era. And on the pier itself, you can see few interesting historical ships. For instance, we have this tugboat, which was built in Long Island City, which is awesome, in 1930. So about 150 to 100 years ago or so, waters around New York City would be crowded with these tugboats as they were guiding ships and barges into and out of the city harbors. In fact, when you walk up a little bit further on the pier, there is this New York Central number 31. This right here is a pilot house, and it once stood on top of a tugboat. So that is pretty interesting that they put it here. It really does kind of give it a little bit more charm and adds to this atmosphere. But just in case you did not notice, next to the tugboat we have this huge ship called the Waiftree, which is from 1885. It was built in England, and originally it was built to carry cargo, which it did for a number of years. But standing next to it, it's honestly an awesome experience. It is here that you really realize the scale of these ships, how big they are. And remember, when you buy tickets to the South Street Seaport Museum, you can come on board of this ship. But the museum itself is really amazing, and I would need to do a whole separate video just about that. For now, we are just looking at everything from the outside. And there in the back is another ship called the Pioneer, which was built in Pennsylvania in 1885, so around the same time period, and for which you can again buy tickets and sail around New York City. On the opposite side of the pier, there is Ambrose, which was built in 1907, and it served as a floating lighthouse for a number of years, guiding ships coming in from the Atlantic Ocean into New York City harbor. And here is something I really never thought about. On this channel, I did few videos already where I showed lighthouses around New York City. And I knew that in some cases, ships were used as lighthouses in places where you couldn't build a traditional lighthouse, or it was just impractical to do so. But you know, one thing I never really thought about, what it was like for people to live on board these ships. Again, it's something that never really popped into my head until I stood here looking at this ship. I am sure that the people had to stay on board for a few weeks because I doubt they would be replacing the crew every week or so. It would just be too impractical. So they had to stay here for extended periods of time, being exposed to the rough seas, the weather, and even the danger of other ships colliding with it. For instance, at night or when it's hazy, where you really don't have very good visibility. And all of this while you are miles away from land and other people. You know, I mean, this really had to be an interesting experience. So here's a good example of how sometimes historians, but especially like myself, we get our ideas for research projects. It's just sometimes you think of something, you see something that really interests you, you want to find out more information about it, and then you realize there's not a lot of information out there. And so you begin to pursue it, and that becomes your next project. But the views are also stunning from here. A great place to really enjoy yourself. And oh, right there, you also see the building One Seaport, which is called the Leaning Tower of New York City. A building that is slightly tilted due to an uneven setting of the foundation. And now it remains unfinished about 10 years after work began on it. And also, as you turn around on the other side, again, great views of the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan Bridge right behind it. As you walk now, what's on Pier 17. Oh, which at this point, above you, there is the rooftop on Pier 17, which is an outdoor venue where concerts are played. So sometimes famous musicians are gonna be performing up there. And there is also one more ship that you can see, the Clipper City, which is pretty cool because it's a replica of a ship from the 1850s. And again, another ship you can buy tickets for and go sailing around New York City. Then as you come off the piers, you can take a look at the Tin Building, where today it's a food hall and like a marketplace with few stores. But then crossing the street, you can really step back in time. There are like, I don't know, 6, 7 streets or so, which really give you a feel for a different time period, with small shops and where the Fulton fish market used to be, which really was one of the oldest fish markets in the United States. And it still exists, although it was moved to the Bronx out of this location a few years ago. And of course, here we also have the South Street Seaport Museum with these cool ship anchors in front of it, and something that I would love to do a video on sometime in the future. And the last thing I really want to show you is that in front of the museum, there is also the Titanic Memorial Lighthouse, dedicated to the people who have died on Titanic in 1912. But unfortunately, as you see, it is going through renovations, so I cannot really show it to you. But it's kind of an interesting history. It was created in 1913 on the first year anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. Hence, it was one of the earliest memorials to Titanic victims here in the United States. And then in the 1960s, it was donated to the South Street Seaport Museum. So hopefully when it finally opens up and is renovated in the future, maybe I will be able to show it to you from a little bit closer. Therefore, if you ever will be in Manhattan, this is definitely a place worth visiting. And it is not far away from other main centers where you want to visit, like World Trade Center, the Battery Park. All of this is really within walking distance. It has a lot of charm and history and great details. I mean, even look at the street signs around this place. It's so distinct and cool. I really like walking around these streets, and there's really a lot to learn here and see. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I was able to share a little bit more of this city with you and another interesting location. Have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.